say he stood in the parking lot of an elementary school in South Tyler wearing only a diaper, trying to lure children, and apparently it's not the first time. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good evening. Yesterday we told you about the arrest of 45-year-old Wesley Worl. This video behind us shows the moments Tyler police took the 45-year-old man from White House to the Smith County Jail. And tonight we are digging into his past and want to warn you that some details we were given by the police department regarding the accusations against him could be disturbing to some.
Tonight, arrest documents detail a long history of 45-year-old Wesley Worl. This man, who Tyler police say last month exposed himself to two girls who were riding bikes in their neighborhood along Fry Avenue.
That really does disturb me.
Cruz Fry says the street is named after his uncle. He's lived out here for
about 28 years.
We were the first to tell him about the shocking incident that Tyler police say happened just feet from his home.
It's about the wildest thing I've ever heard.
Police say Worl followed the girls for some time before stopping in the parking lot of Andy Woods Elementary. Then say he got out of his car wearing only a diaper and with a pacifier in his mouth began to mouth goo goo gaga at the two children and proceeded to tell them he needed his diaper changed. Officers say the girls quickly rode away on their bicycles to tell mom and dad.
And then parents obviously called the police on him.
But what happened in this neighborhood is not the first time Worl has been accused or charged of behavior like this. KLTV News obtained arrest records that detail several similar incidents and accusations of voyeurism, criminal trespassing, and exposure charges that include Worl wearing a diaper, some dating back to 1999.
That's what he likes to do, is come out in diapers.
In 2007, Worl was sentenced to 7 years in prison for exposing himself to an 8-year-old girl at a church. And most recently, just weeks before the incident on Fry Avenue, police say Worl went to several Walmarts around Tyler, following women and children with his hands inside his shorts. When police questioned him, Worl says he was checking to see if he had soiled his diaper. Fry says after hearing what happened on his street and the history of charges attached to Wesley Worl, he doesn't understand why the incidents continue to happen.
He ought to be put away. What I don't understand, if he's been caught before, prosecuted, why isn't he put away?
Worl currently is sitting in the Smith County Jail with bonds totaling $600,000.
Tyler police say more charges could be added and that this is an open investigation. We did reach out to the Smith County District Attorney's Office. They tell us they cannot comment on pending cases.